So how does technology feature in a rapidly changing world, in more environmental protection while sustaining food and keeping food cheap and plentiful? So it gives me great pleasure to invite 6 speakers in turn up to the lectern here and give a quick fire shot of what they're thinking the technology will be.
Very interesting.
Right, the one I've been looking forward to now is ARWAC. Nick, would you like to take the stage, please, and explain what ARWAC is?
I hope I don't disappoint you.
Okay.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just check that I can work this thing. Which bit do I press? Just the forward or back?
Press that one.
That one there.
Just that. No, that's it.
Yep.
Keep going. There you go.
Jolly good. Well, that was me a few years ago, prettier and slimmer, as you can tell. I'm a land agent and have been for 50 years. I've met and spoken to an awful lot of farmers during that time, whether it be about rent or the price of land. The one conversation that all those conversations would return to the weather, until recently something called blackgrass came in. It meant not a lot to me, and having heard about it a few times, I thought I'd do some investigation. Wow, isn't it a problem? Here we have a national problem. We've got weed resistance. I'm told it's 0.4 of a billion in lost gross profit. Wheat yield loss, 0.8 of a billion tonnes. Herbicide control costs, 1 billion. Annually, 3.4 million tonnes of loss, and an urgent need for a solution. Well, so I got together a few professionals that I knew and suggested that we try and put together a firm to develop something to deal with this. So ARWAC, which stands for Autonomous Robotic Weeder in Arable Crops, was almost born. Because then I realised we had to fund this thing. So I made a few inquiries, and all of those inquiries led me to the University of Lincoln and a gentleman by the name of Professor Simon Pearson. Look at the background here. Wet and warm winters have aggravated the problem. We've got bans coming our way to get rid of the pesticides that actually work. Resistance from over-application. Farm subsidies, as you know, will no longer be here in 4 years' time. Labour, inputs, machinery, the whole 9 yards. So it occurred to me that a robot was probably the way forward. But all the robotic work that I looked at, no disrespect to the ones that have been talked about today, but they're all directed to sort of specialised high-value crops, or indeed fruit growing. 40% of the country is arable broadacre farming, and I didn't see anything that was designed for that. So, having gone to see Professor Simon Pearson with that principle in mind and a hand sketch drawing of something I thought that might do, I said to him, "What do you think?" I expected to be patted on the head and told to go back to the day job, but no, he said, "Let's give it a go. Get your people up here and see what we can do." Which we then managed to secure a 2-year grant from the UKRI, Innovate, and we put our team together, formally brought the company together, and we have a range of professionals. I have an accountant, I have a solicitor, I have a farmer, I have an electrical vehicle manufacturer, a farm machinery specialist, and of course little me, and we have the university, all working together. We've now completed at the end of last year, we completed 2 years, and we now have a proof of concept. My apology to you all is I don't have a picture of it up here. That's the bad news. The good news, if you all walk over to 136, you will see the iteration that we currently have, which is there to be looked at. It's only proof of concept. The other good news is that today I can tell you we've got another grant award for another 2 years. So in 2 years' time, I'm trusting that we will have a prototype that will actually work on farm. So that's the project progress so far. We now expect to do more field trials over the next 2 years. We've set up a group of farmers and we hold regular consultations with them in order to progress what we're doing and ensuring at the end of the day they will buy what we produce. And that gives you the opportunity to give any help you can to us. Inquiries at ARWAC UK Limited. And that's the end of that, I think. Yes. So thank you for listening, everybody. I've tried to keep it shorter than everybody else to give you time for some questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. I was hoping to see a photograph of it, but I'll go over and see it. 136. Okay, fantastic. Right. Thank you, Emily. What we're doing now, we'll have a quick question and answer session. So, would the speakers like to join me on the podium? And Olivia's got a roving mic. So, has anyone got a question for any of the panel? Anything to kick off with? Go on, Clive. Good man.
I'm really interested in blackgrass control particularly. It's a really difficult weed to map, and certainly it's getting harder to treat with chemical resistance and things. What technology is the best to capture that, and how can we best use robotics to take us to another level?
When you say capture, do you mean the seed or?
Well, to understand it, where it is, and control it.
Speaking as ARWAC, we are looking purely at hoeing the existing crop. Nothing very technical about that. But we're using, obviously, modern technology to drive the machine in the most cost-effective way without using herbicides, without using diesel and labour. The other elements you're talking about, dealing with the seed base, I think this is much more your question than mine, isn't it?
I don't know. I mean, the Redicop project that we're involved in, harvest weed seed control. Of course, most blackgrass has dropped before harvest happens. So it's really meadow brome and ryegrass are two species that are most better suited to it. Having said that, Adam Driver, who's one of our farmers, and he swears that he gets blackgrass in the chaff lines behind his combine. So we're going to be looking at that as part of the project. The advantage of harvest weed seed control is that you're not putting the seed back into the seed bank, and that's particularly important in a direct drilling or low tillage situation. I don't know whether, Sam, you've got anything to add on that?
Yeah, I think as with all of these things, you're going to need multiple different approaches to really deal with the problem. But what we're doing is we're trying to take a very data-centered approach, and I think there are two routes that we're looking at the moment, but the focus is very much about detecting the blackgrass as early as possible. I don't think it's that much use to tell a farmer where the blackgrass is in June. They kind of know at that stage. I think what we would love to be able to do is tell them where it is in October and November, soon after they've drilled the crop. So the two that we're looking at are multispectral cameras, where the blackgrass is reflecting the light at a different rate on the spectrum to the wheat, and so you can see, the blackgrass shows up as blue and the wheat shows up as red, for example, and then you can identify exactly where all the blue plants are, and then instruct something to go and kill them. And then the second one is around simply using very high resolution cameras, because as these plants emerge, they look quite different to each other. The wheat and the blackgrass, for example, look quite different, at least for a time early on in their life. And so with a high enough resolution camera, if a human expert can look at an image and say, well, that's blackgrass and that's wheat, then you can train an algorithm to repeat that and do it at scale. So we're looking at both approaches, excited to see where that goes.
Very good, thank you.